to press the recording button. So there are multiple cards here that you can choose from your dashboard, and you can add the cards right here by selecting Add Card, or you can remove them by selecting this X right here. So let's just say, for instance, you have a new job starting in 2 weeks, and you're curious if there are any candidates that may be ending their job soon who would be a good match for this job that you have coming up. So maybe it would be great if you could take a candidate ending one job and move them right into another one, right? So an easy way to see if you have any candidates ending a job soon would be to review the placement starts and ends card. And so you go to Add Card. Down here under Placements, you can see Starts and Ends. You just select that. And then it'll actually show you all the starts and ends in the entire system. And you can narrow it down by the day, right? So if you just wanted to see that, they're going to end on an exact day, then you can narrow it down this way. And then whenever you scroll down, say you do it like for today, right? You just want to see today. Then you can scroll down and only see those placements or those consultants that are coming off their job. Well, this actually starts, so sorry, ends. You can actually see the ones that are ending, if you click day, and then click one day, that are ending today. And so these are, here's the job record number, and of course green matches candidate, so there's the candidate record. You can go straight to the candidate record, and there's the company record that's attached to the job. And so that's pretty nice, right? You could just kind of click on them right from here and start maybe contacting those candidates about the jobs that you have that's ending in 2 weeks. You can also view it by the week, right? So maybe like any candidates that are ending the same week that your job is starting would work for you. And you can select the whole week, and then you can scroll down and see all those placements and see it gives you from May 14th through May 20th. And if you want to view all, you can actually do you can click this, and it'll open a whole new page for you to view them all. And it'll show you on the placement list. Right? How nice is that? Because then from there you can even do some mass actions from that placement list. And just to switch back and forth, I know I did a little quick the last time, you can go to Start by clicking this, or you can go to Ends, which is what we're interested in our scenario. If you want to just know about your candidates, so I mean your job, you can configure the card and say just my job, or all jobs, or maybe you just want to see certain department jobs, and you can do that here and select those departments. And then you'll just press Apply. So that's pretty handy. Let's say, for instance, once you add a job to Bullhorn, it's obviously important for you to stay on top of it and make sure that candidates are being submitted, resumes are being sent to the client, interviews are scheduled, etc. And so the way to kind of keep track of that with like just a quick bird's eye view is to go to Add a Card, and then in Jobs you can go to Jobs Without Coverage. All right, so when you go to configure your card, you'll see that the coverage type, and so these are going to be those jobs that don't have this coverage type, right? So these would be the jobs without internal submissions. If you select this one, it'll be the jobs without any client submissions, right? And so depending on whether you're a recruiter or in sales, that might determine which of these that you pick, or those that haven't had their interviews yet, and you can do that way. And if you're, maybe just a BDM and you only want to see your jobs and track their coverage, then you can just select My Jobs here. Or if you're a manager or you have, you're part of different departments, you can select department and choose those here. You can even do, say you are a BDM and you want to see the ones that haven't been submitted to the client and also were added, within the last month, then you can narrow that down as well. All right, and then you can apply. And the settings that you apply to your dashboard should stay there, should be pretty sticky for whenever the next time that you log in and check out your dashboard. So you shouldn't have to configure it every time. Right. And then just like with the other one, with the starts and ends, it'll show you the job numbers. You can open up that job record right here, the company, and then of course orange means contact, so you can even open up the contact record right there, which is nice. And you can do that all right there. Let's say, for instance, you want to have some greater visibility into the types of jobs or clients that are performing well, and so that way you can focus your efforts on, the successful ones, or maybe deprioritize other ones. And you can do this by using the success rates card. And so you can go to add card, job, and success rate. And of course, success rates, well, that is based on the fill ratio and the hit ratio. The fill ratio is the number of starts divided by the number of positions. And if you forget that, you can just hover over it and it'll remind you. And the hit ratio is the number of starts divided by the number of client submissions. You can also configure this card so it's just your job or your department's job and these other categories as well. So just hit apply. Then if you want to see a different graph, right, you can do week, you can do month, and you could even do the year. And at any time, you can always expand these to make them bigger for your own viewing pleasure. All right. All right, we have a question. Oh, you're welcome. She loves the dashboard cards. Well, since you love the dashboard cards, let me show you one more thing with the dashboard cards. They're not just here in your dashboard icon. Say, for instance, you're in a contact list. So this is the list version, but you can actually see all the dashboard cards that are associated with this list. You can customize the dashboard cards that show up on your contact list or your candidate list, etc. Just by going to this view, and you can add cards here, and you can configure the cards, or maybe you want to look at them in a graph version. You can do all that on the list as well. So the dashboards aren't just there, they are all attached to the different lists, which is really nice too, right? And then of course if you select any of these numbers, then it'll show you those items in the list, and it'll put the filters on there for you, right? So if I wanted to see contacts by relationship owner, all the contacts that Linda has, then I can just click right there and then it'll update that for me. All right. Let's move on to, if you guys have no more questions about dashboard cards, let's move on to notes and tasks. And so obviously if you don't document something, it's as if it didn't happen, right? In the system, all of the documentation is driven by notes, and then the reports are driven, and those goals and all those other kinds of things are driven by the actions that you use whenever you create notes. So it's important to make sure to document your notes and include actions on them. As a matter of fact, it's required, right? So I also want you to notice, let's say for instance, you're going to add a note to a contact. There's several ways to do it. So I'll show you first how to do a quick note. So say I'm in contacts, and this of course works the same way if you're in contacts or any other kind of record. You can go to your quick view, and you can add a note right here. All right, so anytime you add a note, you'll have to, of course, select an action. Now you might kind of glaze over this part that's typed out in this gray section, but this actually is pretty nifty as far as the quick note is concerned, because if you add a note on an actual record by selecting the action add note on a record, which I'll show you in just a moment, you have the different categories so that you can reference things. But if you're just going to do a quick note, you can actually reference different people, like candidates, contacts, or leads, or even other users by using the @ symbol. So, so if it's a user, they'll be gray. If it's a candidate, it'll be green. If it's a contact, it's orange. And of course, if it's a lead, it'll be purple. You can select them straight from here, right? Like I could just start typing out a person's name, and then I can reference them here. If you want to reference a job or a opportunity record, then you can actually do that by putting a number sign, right, the pound sign, and then you can put in, you can type the number, right, for that record, or you can actually type something that's, you know, like the name of the company. So there's the job records, right, that you could reference right there. All right, I'm not actually going to create this note, right? And then here's your action that you can include in your notes. And then you'll notice, for instance, it says, do you want to schedule a next action, right? And that's to help you keep track of all of the things that you have to do. So say, for instance, let me cancel this one because I don't want to mess with anybody's. Let me go to mine. I want to mess with Windows contacts here. Okay, I don't have contacts. Hello, candidate. All right, I'll go to my candidate. All right. Here, my candidate. There we go. All right, so whenever you go and you want to add a note, and say we're putting in our note, and say we left them a message, then we can schedule a next action to call them back. We'll go ahead and do that, so I'll show you what that looks like. And it'll automatically pull up your new task, and look at that, how fancy. It says call back Christopher Sargent. So because you choose that action of left a message, it automatically knows probably that your next task is going to be to call them back. And then you can fill out this information. You can make it a repeating task by selecting the show button. You can add a reminder, right, like 30 minutes ahead of time. Here's where you can actually reference some other records in the system, right? And this is what I was referring to about referencing other records in the system. And then here's your description for your notes, and it automatically pulls in what you typed in the notes in your description. And then you can save that here. You can also use your task template. If you want to create a new task template, it can actually be done right here, and it'll actually have to be done right here whenever you're creating a new task. You can select New, and then you can give your template a name. How about callback? And then you can give your callback task template, and you can select Save. So then whenever you come to your task, you'll be able to see them right here, and now you have your template that will be stored. You can save that. Now you've left a note, and you've created a task to follow up and call them back. Pretty nifty, right? Let's say you're working on a candidate list, and you want to reach out to this candidate that you haven't had recent contact with, and so you can update your database. And you come across one particular candidate that catches your attention because you think they may be the perfect candidate for a job of yours. And so there's another way that you can add notes to this candidate after you maybe called them, and you can select their name, and then you can select an action, and then you can add a note. So that's another way that you can even add a note. And you can also add note templates. Same thing, just like with the task. If you want to add a note template, like say maybe it's a left message kind of template. Maybe you always leave the same kind of message to your candidate. Then you can use your template here, or of course you can create a new one. Easy, right? If you uncheck that private box, then that means it'll be public. And so when people go to note templates, it'll go to all note templates. And then there's your group note template. All right. So here's notes. and that's just going straight from here. And of course, there's another way you can do it where you can go to the Notes tab, and you can see all the notes right here, and you can, edit them, delete them, and view what the notes were all about. You can also search by notes too, right? If you go to candidate list, you can include a search, and in that search, you can search the notes. Right, and you can put in your keyword. Oh, this is without notes. There's a couple of different notes options. There you go. Note comments, that's what I was looking for. All right. Somebody asked me in the last class, they said, okay, well, what if you make an appointment with a client and then you need to adjust that appointment after you've made it, right? So I don't have any contacts as an example, but I'm gonna make an appointment with one of my candidates, and it'll be the same as you make it with a contact, okay? So if I select an action and add an appointment with them, then maybe I'll just do like, G2 or whatever, right? And then there's my attendee and yada yada. I'll fill this all out, right? You guys know how to fill out an appointment. Tell me if you don't, I'll go through it. And then you'll select save. Okay, so you're like, okay, well, how do I modify that, that appointment? And what you do is, I should be able to get it soon. Here it is. So here's my appointment. And if I need to modify this appointment, even after I've accepted it, let's say I accepted it, right? I'll go and I'll look at my calendar. Here's my appointment. I can open it back up, and I can actually, that's where you go to modify it. Click here to modify in Bullhorn. This is the way that you modify appointments that you create. Of course, you'll need to already be logged in. There it is. Here's the overview of your appointment, and then you can go to edit. You can edit your appointment, or you can delete it altogether. Oh, Ben says, how do you edit note templates? Okay. So you can go to organize. And let's see, here's my lesson message. And there it is. That's how you edit your note templates. Good question, Ben. Thank you. All right. Let me keep an eye out for any more hands that are showing up. Okay, we're good to go. All right. Let's see. What if a contact just gave you some feedback following an interview they did with one of your candidates? So how do you document the details of your conversation? So you should probably actually go to either the contact record or the job record. You know, they're both linked, right? And so you can go to, let's go to a job record. Let's see if I got any of my jobs in here. I got one. All right. So this one, you go to just select an action, and then you add a note. How could you guess that, right? And then the action is post-interview. And here you can put in your information about how the interview went. You can use a note template, right? Post-interview if you want. And then you can save that. And it'll save it on your job record and your contact record. Or, of course, you can use the slide out quick note, right? And you can reference the contact and the job right there, depending on which one you choose in the quick note. All right, so we talked about note templates. Oh, I want to show you one other thing. Since we talked about notes and tasks, I showed you how to edit an appointment. Your tasks are actually all located in the list form right here. So you go to menu and you select task. And you can see all the tasks. And you can even make them completed from here. Isn't that nice? Right here, a little checklist. So that's how you can do your tasks. You can even see all the information that's associated with that task, right? Because we made this task whenever we were adding a note to candidate Christopher Sargent, and so that's why you see all these details here. And then any references you make here are here, and then if he's on an assignment, then that'll show there. All right. Let's see, what about the pulse? I'll go ahead and close all these tabs and show you a pulse. Actually, contact. All right, let's see. Yoo-hoo Sneezy. I don't think it's going to have any on there for me. I haven't emailed Yoo-hoo Sneezy. Okay, let's clear that. And the person I saw that had a small amount of pulse. Now, pulse works is like basically like a relationship card. You guys maybe played around to kind of see what that looks like. I'm going to go to the company record. Here's the pulse, right? So there's it's located on a couple different records: the company record, the contact record, and the candidate record. And because there's not a lot of, since we've only just begun last week using Bullhorn, then it hasn't really started, you know, there's not been a lot for it to track and keep track of. But there are a few, but I want to show it to you anyway, right? So here's the pulse, and I'm on the company record Mohawk Industries. I can see who's engaged with this company, right? So Carla Griffin, she's the one engaged. It'll tell me like how long they've, you know, they've been in a relationship, when the last time they were contacted. You can also see the most responsive contacts associated with this company, right? So if you want to reach out to Mohawk and you want to know who's actually responding from this company and getting back in touch, it'll show those here. You can add more cards, right? Phone conversation activity. That's going to be nice whenever ShoreTel is integrated. Email tracking, right? You'll be able to see the emails that have been sent out, who they were sent to. You'll be able to open those records. You could open the email and see what the email says. And you can even see account engagement, right? So this, of course, is based on the email. And you can graph that data. And then it'll tell you how many emails are been going out. And of course, there's only one. So the email conversation activity is 1 sent email. But over time, this will get better as you guys will send more emails. You'll be making phone calls from here. And so these, this post will be more useful to you at that time. You can also go to Cynthia Davis, the contact, and you can see her pulse. And what's really nice about these postcards is Bullhorn, whenever you send an email from Bullhorn, it actually tracks when the recipient opens the email, and over time it'll create a history and like has its own special algorithm that'll determine the best day and time for you to send an email to that particular contact or candidate based on their history of opening and reading your email. And that, of course, would show up here. So it looks like, you know, possibly Cynthia didn't open that email because this is not updated down here. But once, you know, people start opening your email, it'll be able to tell you a recommended day and time to send the email. And then, of course, the email conversation activity is tracked here, and you can add more cards. Right, here's emails, and then who's engaged with this contact Carla Griffin. So that's pretty nice to know, even though you can't see a lot on there right now. All right. One more and the final thing that I want to show you, this one pretty fast because you guys have not had a lot of questions, is distribution list. So the way to add distribution list, and I'll show you a little bit about mass mailing. People had questions about that last course. So if you want to create a distribution list, say these are my candidates, and I want to create a distribution list, you go to selected, and then you add to distribution list. That is actually the only way that you can put people on a distribution list is from the list. So you can type an existing distribution list, like random contacts, or you can create a brand new one right here, new distro, or whatever works for you, and then you can select save, and now you have all those on your distribution list. Say, for instance, you are going to do a mass mailing, right? So you want to email these candidates. Mass mailing means that nobody else is going to see this email, right? So Christopher is not going to see that Michelle is on this email, but here you can also add your distribution list. And that's how you can add your distribution list there. I see a hand. Go ahead, Julie.
Hey, I think I just put in the question there. Is there anything out there that's similar to tags in eRecruit where we used to, like I used to tag people as, you know, network engineers or project managers, and so it was easy to pull a group of project managers up. Is there anything similar to that?
Yeah, and the best thing that's similar in Bullhorn is tier sheet. And so if you know, yeah, and I'll show you again. So what did you say, engineers?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I don't know. Let's just say engineers. I don't even know if I spelled it right. All right, so forgive me if I didn't. All right, so say these are my engineers. I can take these 4 selected, and then I can add them to a tier sheet. And then I can make my tier sheet. And I'll save it. And of course, you can do it private or public. What's nice about that is then now you have like basically your tagged list. You can go to home and you can go to tier sheet list. And then here's all my engineers. I can open up this triangle. And when ShoreTel is integrated, you can start phone calling them from here. You could select them all. And then with selected, you can email them, right, right here. Or you can even add to internal submission. You could add them to your distribution list that you have. You could even create a task from here. And so that's kind of, it's even a little more advanced than tags, right? Because not only do you have, not only can you like put a label on them and call them, you know, your engineers, you can then select them and you can put actions on them. And you can manage your tear sheet, and you can delete them and remove them and say, you know, they don't want to be called, or these are the, maybe you have different groups of engineers, ones that are open to new positions and those who, you know, are on assignment. You can actually manage your tear sheets and create another one, a new tear sheet, and put, you know, separate groups out from existing tear sheets. Does that help?
Yes, it does. Thanks.
Okay, you're welcome. All right. So that actually is, did I cover everything? I think I just distribution list. Yes, I did. Oh, let me show you where they are. If you go to menu and then distribution list, this is where you can look at all the distribution lists that are here in the system. And of course, you can filter them once they load. Once they load, I got further that time. Come on. One more try. Oh, good question. What's the difference between a distribution list and a tear sheet? Okay, so a distribution list is a list of people that have contact information, like it's their email address essentially, right? And then a tear sheet can be any kind of record, and you can manage them in any kind of different ways that you want to, right? So with distribution lists, you can just use them to add them to, your mass mailings and emails. Whereas tear sheets, like I just showed you, you can, have different record types. You can manage them and move them around. You can use tear sheets in a way like, say there's a job that doesn't have a job record yet because it's like a job that's not official, but you might need candidates waiting in the wings. And you can actually share tear sheets and have people add candidates to your tear sheet so that as soon as that opportunity goes live, you have candidates already ready to go that have been sourced and screened. So that's kind of the way that you use tear sheets, whereas distribution lists, it's just basically a grouping of email addresses and contact records. So here you go. Here are the distribution lists, and you can sort them by, candidates. I don't even know why I pressed buttons. But this is where they are. I'm sure you'll have more patience with them than I am. But that's where they hang out. And just like you can sort and filter any of the columns, you can do the same here in distribution lists. But mostly the easiest way to do distribution lists is, say you want to add some to a distribution list, you can add them here, and then when you can find it, right? This is how you can find them by just typing the name of your distribution list, like I have one new, right? And then, of course, if you're creating an email, you can add them to the distribution. You can add the distribution list to the email. Oh, just kidding. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, one more thing I wanted to show you. Somebody asked me about last time, which was how do you forward a job? So say you want to send a job, like via email. I can open up that job record, and I can forward the job. And you can include all the information that you want to forward with the job, right? Like maybe start date, prepare an email, and then you can include your distribution list there. All right. And then, of course, you press send. Oh, one other thing they asked me last class, signatures. So whenever you're composing a message, you'll see this here that says signatures. And just like with templates and note templates and task templates, it's located when you're actually creating it that you can manage it. And so if you want to add a signature, it would be whenever you're composing a message, you can go to, find your signatures, which there are not any, or you can select new and set up your signature. The only thing that I found with signatures, let me show you, that you'll have to do. I gotta copy my signature. I don't know what it is. Let's see. Copy. Only thing that you'll need to do, so you can paste all this, it looks pretty decent, right? Is you'll have to add an image, right? And that's with this little image button. And you can upload it, right? So you'll find that little image, like save the image as onto your desktop, and then you can upload it right here, and then you'll have your signature ready, and you can you'll need to name it. So say I save that one. Then when I go to compose a message, it'll be here, as my signature. All right. The format carries over. So Ben, not really. I mean, it kind of does. It does a little bit like the tables there. That's nice and stuff. I'm sending a message to Mark today to ask them if they're going to be loading, you know, like signatures into the system, you know, like for the groups or whatever. That's all like nice and pretty and marketing approved. But no, it doesn't really carry over. Like if you need to add you'll have to add the images in yourself. So no, it doesn't. All right. That is actually, we're actually at the end of all the things that I wanted to show you. Like I said, if you guys want future trainings, I know there will be future trainings on as new things come out. But if you want, you know, future like additional step-by-step guides, or you want more training on something, or you want to do another Q&A, or whatever it is that you guys need me to do to help support you in Bullhorn, please let me know. And thank you so much for joining me today.